Into the Dark just entered its second season on Hulu. Yet again, if you don't know what Into the Dark is, it is a television anthology series on Hulu from Blumhouse, where every month you get a new horror film, feature-length film, and that film has to do with a holiday that matches up with the month it is being released in. This one, of course, is set on Halloween night, since this was in October, and this is the first episode of season 2, which there was no break in between season 1 and 2. I didn't even know if it was going to get renewed, and last minute they announced that it was going to, and here we are with a film already just 1 month after the last episode of season 1. Now, this one is called Uncanny Annie. Now, if you've watched any of my Into the Dark reviews, or if you yourself have watched Into the Dark, you might be in line with me to where I said pretty much every episode of the show was fine, good, and then some, like the best of them were like pretty good. Like, never hit great, but yeah, there was a couple, like I'm Just Fucking With You. I want to say that was my favorite. That was pretty good. And then the worst of them all for me, I don't know which one. School Spirit, maybe, or that was a slasher one. I really was uninterested in that one. It was like fine. It was like meh. So that's like that's the rating of this show. So here we are in season 2, thinking, all right, let's see if this sets a tone for the new season. And I had saw a trailer to this, and it made me very excited because I was like, oh, this looks interesting. And what this is about a group of maybe 20-something-year-olds, like early 20s. They're all getting together on Halloween night. There's some trouble between a couple of them because they broke up, but they're hanging out anyways. And they all decide, hey, let's play a board game, which 20-year-olds never do, but hey, this is a movie, so you just gotta roll with it. I've hung out with some 20-something-year-olds many times in my life, and anytime I've ever suggested a board game, especially on a night where everyone wants to drink and Halloween night and all that, the fucking board game, they ain't playing no board game. But anyways, they play a board game in this movie called Uncanny Annie, and all you gotta do is play the cards, and they'll give you some instructions, and as long as you can accomplish the instructions, then you can put a little tile on the board, spell Annie's name, and you win the game. But of course, things are not so easy, and the game comes to life. Now, we've seen plenty of movies like this, especially outside of the horror genre, in Jumanji, and the Zathura, what's Jumanji? Zathura. Those are tough to say for me for some reason. But there's also ones in the horror genre, like the Ouija movies, the Witchboard movies, and another one which I will save for in a couple minutes, and you'll see why. So, how did this film compare to the rest of the episodes in this? Did it finally excel past? No. It's just yet another... It was good. It had its ups. It had its downs. There were things I really liked. There were things I really didn't. I think the film's biggest crime is that it's just a little too silly. Like, I know there's going to be a decent amount of people who watch this and are like, what is this bullshit? This is dumb. And I completely understand what they're saying there. I was in it because I do like these kinds of stories. A group of kids get together, they play a game unwitting to them that this thing is going to cause some serious destruction in their life. It's going to come to life. It's going to come real. And they kind of just got to deal with the consequences of that. I do like that kind of story. Now, I was laughing because if you've watched this, I felt like there was a couple characters that reminded me of the Harry Potter franchise. And one of those being a Dementor, which is very similar to the Grim Reaper-esque type character that's in this flying around. And then there's another character called Uncanny Annie who was straight up Moaning Myrtle from the bathrooms in Harry Potter. I just could not shake it the whole time. I was like, is this Moaning Myrtle? She just like, it felt like it. She was never creepy. I mean, when you're gonna have your titular character, your main villain, don't make her like a character in Harry Potter or an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark. It just did not fit this. And this is an R-rated movie. I mean, there's a good amount of cursing. There's a little bit, there's, I don't want to say any gore, but there's a decent amount of blood. Now, there are highlights to the film. I thought that there was some good twists, a couple. One I thought I had figured out, and I was like, oh God, here we go. And I was half right, and I was like, oh, with what I did not expect. And I like the characters okay, like most of them. Thought the acting was fine. Another problem with the film is it's way too self-referential. It's way too hand-holding with the audience. It's just like people are saying things out loud. They're like, you don't need to say that. It's for the audience, 100%. There's no need for that to be done. But they'll be like, you got to do this because it said this on the board and this and that. And you're like, he gets it. He knows what's happening. Like, it's okay. Like, it's just, it plays it down for the audience and it makes it silly. And they could have got a little more clever with this. There is so much potential with a movie like this, especially a horror movie, Jumanji. And there's limitless potential in something like that, and it has a pretty damn decent budget to it, with capable actors, and the choices were what were really frustrating me, and some character choices as well. I found to be a little eye rolling, and so I kept wanting to love it. I kept wanting to like it more, but it just kept getting to these places where I was like, oh, that's a little too silly. Damn. Oh, they were kind of getting there, and it was like silly. And then it was like, oh, okay, I'm kind of intrigued by this, and then silly, and it was just like, oh, and then Uncanny Annie shows up, and I was like, oh my God, what's up, Myrtle? What's up? So what I had been holding off for, the thing that I said I would reference here at the end of this review, is I would personally recommend, this is a film no one ever talks about. I'm sure a bunch of people don't like. I don't care. I'm going to recommend it because I dug the hell out of it when I rented it blind from Redbox years ago. And that is The Midnight Game. I dug this movie. It's got like a 4.6 or 8 or something on IMDb and shitty. This is, kids get together and they play this game at midnight, and of course, shit goes down. I thought this was much better than Uncanny Annie. I just really wish they would have taken their time and come up with a little more clever moments within the film. The cards could have had much more sinister shit going on in them. This felt like an R-rated Are You Afraid of the Dark episode. Like the villains, all that stuff felt very kiddish. And then they were injecting some R-rated stuff, some narrative choices with characters and where they go and stuff. That's kind of R-rated stuff. But outside of that, man, there's this like jokester or trickster. I think it's a trickster character. Yeah, yet another thing that felt like it was out of a kid's movie. None of the villains were scary to me. None of them. Now, if I was there, of course, this is one of those situations where what the hell are you going to do? I'd try to play as quick and as efficiently possible, and I can tell you right now, whatever the hell it asked me to do, outside of maybe a few choice things, I'd fucking do it. Like, I don't give a shit what it was. One of them makes a choice not to tell something. I'm not going to get into it, but you're like, dude, your life is on the line, okay? It ain't a joke. Get it out there. Anyways, all right. That's that. Check out The Midnight Game if you haven't. Maybe you'll dig it. Let me know what you guys think of this. God, Into the Dark. Fuck. Why can't this thing ever land? I'm gonna get a good episode eventually. Just gonna a great episode, should I say? It's gonna happen. What'd you guys think? Let me know. Adios.